Venus is coming into contact with Lord Saturn, where she's exalted in Pisces. And this is three strikes and you win. She is a goddess of prosperity, love, and beauty, enduring, lasting, and tangible results. Saturn, meet her with the destiny of the North Node. We haven't seen this triple combination since March of 1877. It's in our sky right now, exact on the 25th of April 2025, but it's not about that day. It's about a third time that she's connected with Saturn in the last few months, and her final answer is going to give you a clue as to what you would like to achieve and accomplish in your life in a fated way. That's the North Node, in a destined way that worldly success can find you in the Pisces whole signs part of your natal chart. And this is such a beautiful energy because Saturn would like to bring enduring and resilient and tangible and long game results to what Venus is creating with her beautiful exaltation in the part of your chart that is Pisces. We have 12 pie slices of our sky. These are called your 12 houses of the zodiac of your natal sky. And today in our video, we're going to talk about how you can use this energy because, guys, you're not getting it back again at all. And that's without the North Node, just Venus and Saturn until 2053 to 2055. And indeed, this time that we're in now with Venus Saturn conjunctions in the sign of Pisces will be relatable to you if you go back in time to 1994 to 1996, when we had Saturn in Pisces and on the regular Venus was joining him there. So if you want to time travel back to what you were doing in 94, 95, and 96, or before that, 1965, 1966, and 1967, and if you're old enough, 1936 and 1937, those eras, the mid 30s, the mid 60s, and the mid 90s were the last time Venus and Saturn joined on a regular basis in Pisces. For you see, Saturn takes 30 years to get back to that sign. So let's get going and talk about this guy for you. We're not going to cover a lot of world politics here at all. I want to make this about how you can use this energy. I want you to grab a pen and paper right now before I get started. I'm going to talk about the Sabian symbol, a fertile garden under a full moon. Yay! It's about prosperity and nurturing the wealth you wish to grow or the beauty and love you wish to grow. It's a garden under a full moon. Wonderful Sabian symbol. We're going to use Renn Butler's Archetypal universe and talk about when Saturn and Venus are in a harmonious or cooperative manner or shadow work. What does it look like? And finally, before we even get to that, here's where I want you to pay attention and sort of take notes in quotes for your own understanding. Because Venus has already contacted Lord Saturn, and she's done this because of retrogradation. So, for example, back in March of 21st of 2024, she contacted Saturn moving in direct motion in Pisces at 12 degrees of Pisces. Back in March of 24, the North Node of fate or destiny, the node of the moon, had not reached Pisces yet. So it was a very simple union, much like we had in 1994, 95, and 96. But then on January 19th, 2025, when the node of fate had moved into Pisces on January 11th. Now, on January 19th, Venus meets with Lord Saturn while the node of fate is co-present. This is an indication that this is going to be important because of the retrograde cycle of Venus. Indeed, as she headed retrograde, because this is a retrograde season for her, like 2017 through the Pisces Aries, as she headed retrograde, then on April the 7th, moving backwards in our sky, from our vantage point, she also co-joined with Saturn in the sign of Pisces with a North Node nearby. And literally here we have the last gasp on April the 25th. She will be colliding with Lord Saturn with a North Node in attendance. This is a really important story. It's almost like what I want you to think about is what was happening on January 19th, April the 7th, and now April 25th, Act 1, 2, and 3. When it comes to love, money, beauty, friendship, kindness, and peace in the Pisces part of your chart. Of course, in the world, peace will be a story that we might have been watching for in places that are Pisces lands. Some Pisces lands can be like the Middle East, right? Gaza is a shoreline with water and underprivileged, underserved refugee people. It's very Piscean. And if you were to track the stories of January 19th, you would notice that when Venus and Saturn came together, we had a ceasefire in the Middle East. A deal was brokered for the phase one ceasefire. I do believe it went in effect around January 19th. But then on April 7th, what happened and what will happen on the 25th? I'll cover that very briefly. But really what I want to talk about is you. I want you to figure out how it is that you can use this energy. I believe on April 7th, there was a collapsing of the ceasefire. I don't have patience right now. I bet you if you look at peace negotiations, January 19th, April 7th, and April 25th in the Middle East, you're going to see 1, 2, and 3 strikes of the same narrative. Now, I have some construction over my head. I don't know if you can hear thumping boots. Nothing I can do about it. The deck is being rebuilt. So hang in there. Hopefully this mic is close enough to me. Do I have it set for the yes? And omnidirectional, monodirectional enough not to capture too much sound of thunderous boots of males working on the dag right above my head. All right, let's get rolling now. I am absolutely excited by this guy because I don't think I'm going to be around in 2053 to catch the next wave. I just don't imagine I'm living that long. I'm already 63, but I can go back to 1994 to 1996 and compare notes. And I'll show you how to do that in a minute because yeah, Venus and Saturn did join in Pisces during those years. Just remember, not with the North Node of destiny where the eclipses in Pisces are happening, giving this an exceptionally different flavor. In Renn Butler's The Archetypal Universe, he talks about how he'll be coming on my channel in May. Stay tuned, or May or June. May. The Archetypal Universe with Renn Butler talks about what archetypes of Venus and archetypes of Saturn in combination do. Like what I'm telling you is that you're going to want this. This is Venus giving you a long game of love, a long game of peace and beauty, a long game of financial goodness. Okay. It's destined with worldly success. So let me tell you, though, the general vibe, because Venus and Saturn in astrology are actually friends. Oh, you go, why would Venus and Saturn be friends? Well, for one thing, there's many reasons, but one reason is because Libra is her home kingdom and she exalts Saturn when he goes to visit. And that's really lovely because that means that she has a fondness for him at some junctures of reality. So she will give him VIP treatment. Venus Saturn principles are such that we can have satisfactory relationships and quality time, feelings of commitment and responsibility, Saturn in one's love Venus relationships, working partnerships that are solid, blendings of beauty and integrity. Now, I'm going to say Saturn represents the elder beauty, refined beauty, antique beauty, beauty that goes the distance, beauty that lasts forever. Edifices of lasting beauty, like marble statues that, survive Chronos time. But on the challenging side, Saturn constricts and constrains. He also is like a taskmaster. He's also the god of solitude, outcast, renunciate, sage-like wisdom, old men, wise women, and wise men. So there's a quality that's well beyond the sensual sexual pleasures and the baby making and the frolicking recreational sexual energy. And indeed, Venus is very little interested in that because in the sign of Pisces, Venus happens to be a very kind of higher love, sacred love, divine love, holy love archetype. In fact, men born with Venus and Pisces will often end up choosing partners who prefer celibacy or more spiritual union than just everyday sex. And that's turned out to be true when I look at my clients' charts. That's a truism. Women with this Venus are very picky about the kinds of people they choose. They're not looking for a romp in the hay. They're looking for a higher love. It's like the nun. It's like the priestess. She's got something else on her mind. So keep in mind, she's exalted in Pisces. She's strong, but she's got this refinement. And relationship tests or coolings of affection can be Saturn, dragging down the Venusian pleasure and sex and fun energy. But again, she's kind of highly refined anyway, because he's not accounting for her signage. Feeling of loneliness, doubts about one's attractiveness, fear of reaching out to others, Again, isolation socially can come off of this energy. But because she's exalted, she's powerful here, and she's really quite in charge of the narrative. So I'm not so much thinking that we'll feel the loneliness factor as much as that power is to be alone and to be responsible and independent for our own lives and what brings us deep satisfaction. Now, there's a Gloria Steinem quote called, "I cannot mate in captivity." And Gloria Steinem was Venus conjunct Saturn. Now, she's a feminist, and you could tie that in to free love, unbounded love, etc. And in that spirit, there's something I'm really going to love to show you. I really think that this will really make you smile. There's an asteroid there called Admete, the unbound, untamed woman. Wow. Yes, I'm going to read that to you when we open up the sky. This is the old Sabian symbols. It happens to occur at 27 degrees of the sign of Pisces, where this Saturn and Venus come together in the sky. Maybe you have your sun, moon, or rising near 27 Pisces or 27 Virgo, or maybe on the angles from that, Gemini and Sag, you guys are angular, square, or opposite that. Therefore, you guys with sun, moon, and rising anywhere near 27 degrees, 3 degrees on either side, will be finding this to be very pivotal. My Virgo rising daughter is 27 degrees rising Virgo, a game-changing episode of Sky Stories in her house of significant relationship. Let's see how that plays out. Now, this is also connected to the Sabian symbol, a fertile garden under the full moon, keyword ultimacy. I'm just going to say satisfaction, manifestation, accomplishment, prosperity, profusion, abundance, fruitfulness, productiveness, and affluence. You've grown a garden. It's full of veggies or fruits or flowers, and the moon is lighting up the productivity of the planting that you have done. So it's a culmination because it's full moon. It's appreciation of the fertile garden, expansion, consciousness, deeper understanding of accomplishments. I just find it, and she says at its highest, the symbol represents material wealth, wisely administered, because you got to tend the garden. Shadow would be greed. Now, I'm just going to say it's a positive symbol. Full moon, garden, beautiful energy. Holy man, I don't know how I'm going to work here if this construction continues. I just got back from a trip to Arizona. Sorry about the lighting. They've changed some of the stuff up on the skylight, and it's making it awkward for me to see you guys. All right. I'm tempted. I'm thinking they're going to do something crazy up there, like smash the skylight over my head. All right, let's get going. I'll show you the sky. We're going to talk about the cool, unbound, untamed feminine asteroid, the Greek princess Admete. She's with this Venus energy, the Saturn energy. We're also going to break it down so you know what to do with this. Again, can I please remind you of the dates? I will do it again later, January 19th, April 7th, and April 25th. This is Venus co-joining Saturn, direct, retrograde, and direct. I gave you the Middle East peace story already as an example. And perhaps you could tie it into Ukraine, Russia. I don't have time, but I bet you there was, well, it really is the Pisces energy really does fit much more the Gaza Israel story. Okay, let's get rolling and move it into the action plan of the sky and talk about what we're seeing here. This is not a long video. I'm recording on for my Patreon community today, April 23rd. My main people on YouTube, you guys are going to get this on the 24th. Are you being unsubscribed? Are you being unsubscribed? A big sub stump has been going on for about 3 or 4 weeks now on my channel. I've reached out to YouTube. It's not me doing anything wrong. It's just you guys are bots, or you guys are dormant, or you haven't been active. But if you wanted to be subscribed, get the notifications and all that stuff, please check, because you're probably unsubscribed. Second of all, would you mind checking out my 2025 All Signs Bundle half price sale in the description box below? Wouldn't you like 12 videos, 2 hours long each? Where you're going to listen for your sign, plus you got a PDF guidebook for each sign, and everything is time stamped under each of these videos, and it's done by quarter, so you could follow along during the year. That's free. That's half price. It's not $66. That 2 hours times 12 hours of content. Each video is 2 hours long, is on sale now. End of April through the end of May, it is a sale. So come get it at half price. So you have still more than half a year to use that content. And if you want to join me at Sky Reader, we're doing summer school, June and July. It's a 6-week live course. It's not open for enrollment. Early bird discount access and notification. There's a wait list on that. Sign up for it. You'll get a price you won't see announced here in the public sphere. And you'll get early access to the class as well. And it's going to be mid-July, mid-June to the end of July. And you don't know anything about my course, the description below is in the box below as well. Back to the sky. I forgot to advertise anything at the beginning. Eeks. I am sort of jet lagged-ish. I can't believe I got COVID for the third time. Once in 22. Once in 24 in Europe. And then I was in Arizona and my guy and I got it together. So I'm on the mend. It was very light compared to first and second time. I think because I had it only a year ago, but we're always getting exposed to it everywhere we go. It's endemic now. It's like getting the common cold, I suppose. But anyway, so I'm kind of a little spacey, so bear with me. I'm just coming off of it. I'm on day 5, I think. I finally took a COVID test yesterday. I got the second damn line, the second damn bar. Okay, let's roll. So I'm just giving myself a little vitamin C pack, no kombucha. Haven't had a chance to go shopping. I just got back yesterday. Just if you know what I'm sipping, it's electrolytes. All right. Now, it's a sky. Look at it. This is a Virgo. It doesn't matter. It just happened to have Virgo here. That's Virgo on the eastern horizon. This is what I want to talk about. This is, of course, Venus. This is what it looks like on Thursday, April the 24th. Okay. And the day my video comes out is that. And it's when it's exact. Venus 27, Saturn 27, 13 minutes. Now, this is going to unfold a story. Okay. This is not about the day. It's more than that. It's about a new energy that moves through this part of your sky that you haven't seen since 1994 to 1996, 1965 to 67. If we do the math and we go 96, 2006, 30 years, every 30 years, of course, is a Saturn cycle. So you're setting a new course that you haven't charted since the mid 90s. It's a new vibrational frequency for what you're doing with this Venus story with Saturn. Now, technically, I'm not going to do this today, but it takes her approximately a little less than a year to kind of complete this story because she'll co-join Saturn in Aries next year. And then the vibrational lesson is over. But for now, just get an idea of what you're resetting. And that reset button lasts until she co-joins Saturn next year in the sign of Aries. So that will be sometime next spring. So you're doing something now that's not finished until next spring. Let's go ahead and talk about each sign in a minute, but here's Admete. What do we want to talk about? Admete. Well, according to my handy dandy software delineation, this was a Greek princess. This is Asteroid 398. She is a Greek princess who accompanied Hercules on one of his labors to capture the golden girdle of Hippolyta. Her name means unbroken, unwedded, and untamed. I mean, I just want to call a movie Unbroken, Unwedded, Untamed. All right. You can't even, unwedded and untamed. Where can you be unbroken, unwedded, and untamed to something in the Pisces sky? Software writer also adds learning how to deal with delays and hindrances. Well, that's okay because Saturn is the god of delays and hindrances. Endurance and perseverance is in the software. So this Greek princess, okay, with Hercules on his 12 labors to capture the golden girdle of Hippolyta, right, was enduring and persevering and kept going no matter the difficulties that happened on that journey. And she could accept that some things will take time and they cannot be rushed. So it's also where can you accept that things will take time in the Pisces part of your sky with love and beauty and kindness and art and wealth and creativity that cannot be rushed. It's the long tail. It's the long game. It's the marathon, not the sprint. And we're going to do each sign. Are you guys ready? Don't forget, if you hit that like button, it does help the channel grow. It keeps me in business. It's such a finger liking thing. Better even is to subscribe, okay? But you do you. I would love if you would come onto my channel. I'm starting a membership community probably in May. Stay tuned for that as well. I mean, on YouTube. All right. We're not going to start with Virgo. It just happens to be set there. I'm going to go traditional and I'm going to go back to Aries already. Now, this is exact, this conjunction, sometime around in Vancouver, Canada, around 4 p.m. in the afternoon. However, the exact conjunction isn't the most important thing. What matters is asteroid Admete and, of course, the north node of fate. We haven't seen that with this Venus and Saturn conjunction since 1877. And if you go back to United States politics and war in 1877, I think pretty well you're going to find common themes to what's going on in today's tariff wars, Trump stories, etc. Just like Donald Trump, there was a contentious election and nobody got the electoral votes properly. And Rutherford B. Hayes was inaugurated in March of 1877. They used to do inaugurations in March, FYI. And so there is a comparable of a contentious election, and then he got inaugurated. But what he was into, like what he was famous for, he was influenced by his belief in a meritocratic government and equal treatment without regard to wealth or social standing or race. So now we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and Trump wants a meritocracy. That is exactly what Rutherford B. Hayes was also promoting. He also presided over the Great Railroad Strike of 1877, a defining moment in his presidency. We'll probably see some kind of strikes of some sort, who knows, by workers in the United States over some of the consequences of the policies economically that Donald Trump is in charge of. There was actually a deadly conflict between workers and strikebreakers during that particular strike. He also implemented civil service reforms that laid the groundwork for further reform later on. So there's changing the civil service. We see that with Doge, right? And I'm just seeing what else he was famous for. And he promised not to run for re-election and did not. And this was a time in your history in the United States for you guys where you had what was called the Indian Wars ongoing. So I'm not going to read any more about that, but the meritocracy, or people being promoted on merit instead of diversity, equity, and inclusion, which doesn't mean always the best person gets the job. When you're flying a plane or doing air traffic control, that might be a bit dangerous, or brain surgeon or somebody. So there is a parallel. Reality is repeating and rinsing itself cyclically. I already talked about this in many times, but the last time a president was inaugurated in a Sun-Pluto conjunction was Madison, and that was at a time when, by the way, people were President Madison, I think he was the fourth president of the United States. The inauguration was in March of that year, 1804, maybe, or 8. The point is that he was a president who did a lot of reform and created a new civil, like Doge, a new thing, just like Doge, and also wanted to grab more land that didn't belong to the United States yet, which is exactly like the Greenland grab or the 51st state of Canada. And he also had tariffs, massive tariffs. He was famous for that. And he also had created a new bank. Like, how you have the Federal Reserve Bank, he created a new bank as well. So you're going to see similar things maybe around the way the two administrations parallel. Now let's go ahead, get back. We got election in Canada. I'll be putting a video out. I will be putting a video out. My Canadians could be asking me a final answer video. I said that Mark Carney announced his election with invisible Venus, combusts the sun, retrograde, Mercury retrograde in the part of the chart that represents a lot of his like public attention for who he is. His Pisces sun is up there. It meant that the momentum he had upon announcing the election, that he would, as interim president, call the election, meant that Mercury and Venus, Mercury's news information or whatever, balance, by the way, and Venus's popularity and appeal, they begin to go backwards from the direction they were headed in. So they were retrograde, but then they were going to turn around and go in a new direction. I said immediately that meant on 3 videos that his popularity would go backwards. So that's what's happened. This wide gap he had in the electorate was because he was supposedly the banker guy who was going to deal with Trump. And he did deal with Trump. We got worse off than any other country but China right now. But basically is exactly what the retrograde planets did. They turned around, and his momentum and his gap between the Conservative Party and his party is doing this, right? In some polls now, the conservatives are ahead. So I did predict that. I still want to double check who's going to win. There's so much to look at in the sky. I think it's going to be a minority conservative government, but until I pull a few horaries and do a deeper dive into it, wait. Okay, I'll probably put a video out this weekend. Our election's on the 28th. Okay, moving on to your sky. Sorry, guys. I feel like I doth babble today because I am a little bit jet lagged, I guess. And I'm on, day 5 of recovering for COVID. Some gnarly a-hole again in the trolls. I got Mars in my criticizing me for touching my hair. I'm obsessed with my hair. No, I have autistic spectrum disorder, late diagnosis. I touch my hair. It's called stimming. If I'm not touching my hair, you can't see what I'm doing down here, but my hands are moving. This is a part of me regulating my nervous system. So live with it. So one of my clients said, or one of my students said, Astrology touches her hair more than you, Lori, and no one criticizes her about it, apparently. So stop it already. Just stop. All right, Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. So you have to go back, Aries, to 1994 to 1996. And there was once each year, 94, 95, 96. Venus was touching down with Pisces/Saturn. If you can remember that time of your life, you might find that you were making sustainable, lasting changes in the 12th house storylines of your life. I bet you're wondering what that 12th house is. It's the part of your life that is your solitude, solitude, alone, and bed pleasures. It's a part of your life where you go into downtime, and you also will perhaps want to seek spiritual answers. You'll be in a deeper quest for spiritual truth. Now, in this case, when you have this energy, it is a good idea to reset your reality by taking time alone, by diving deeper into your soul, and soul work matters. No problem with that. It's a good idea. But also, as you're resetting this part of your life, if you make digital income and foreign revenue, this is supporting you there as well. For it is true that Venus can bring you money in this part of your chart. Honey, because if you make long distance revenue, or your marketplace is in foreign countries, or your clients or the company you work for, this is going to reset the storyline into more prosperity, more wealth, and that kind of money. Please go back and look at what was happening January 19th, April the 7th, and April 25th. Those are direct, retrograde, and direct touch points. For the North Node wants you to have worldly success, expansion, growth, and evolutionary impulse in your 12th house. And you haven't had that since 1877 with Venus Saturn. So no comparison. Admete, unbroken, untamed, and unwed, also has a knack for persevering during the labors of Hercules and enduring to go the distance. It's all the same story. Now, Venus is also the ruler or the owner of your wealth in terms of income. She rules your second house. I remember in 1994 to 1996, I set up my first entrepreneurial business. I became a psychic reader talking to dead people, and I began to make money in 94 to 96. Thank you, Venus and Saturn, without even the North Node in my 12th house. Venus, the ruler of my second. I made money from far off distant shores. I had clients around the world, but I had clients around the countries. So the 12th house can be like more than just international shores. That's the 9th house, like distant shores. So I made revenue from all over the world, just like I do now. Back in the day, people had to send me checks, and I cashed the check and mailed a cassette tape of the reading. Yeah, guys, I'm old. Well, also, what about Venus being the ruler of your 7th house? Anything she's doing in the 12th could impact your 7th as well. Maybe you're in the downtime reset button during this time of your life. Don't forget, Venus and Saturn did co-join March 21st of 2024. Now, January 19th, April 7th, and the 25th with the North Node of Destiny. If you have a long distance relationship with separation to distant shores or far off lands, then she's trying to figure out something to do with that. She might be trying to figure out a way to make it endure. She might also want your long-term committed love relationship, 7th house matters, to find a more spiritual way to connect with that person, a deeper layer of connection that takes you into the moksha liberation or spiritual awakening part of your life. And because this is happening in Jupiter's kingdom, Jupiter in the 3rd house says, I would like to support what you're doing there, Venus. I'm on board for that. And I'm going to try to tell you that your good actions in my 12th Pisces kingdom can maybe influence how I act in the third house of writing, social media, communications, short distance traveling. Jupiter may apply collateral benefits to the third house from the very, very intense action going on in his 12th house. All right. And as for the Mars-Pluto opposition this week and the moon that's forming in Taurus, please watch the video that I already put out, not only on the new moon, I did predict the Pope's death, by the way, but also in that video a week and a half ago, but also you can watch my week ahead video talking about Mars-Pluto opposition. It's already out. Go find it. Hey, Taurus, you are ruled by Venus. Venus is the lord of your sign. Pay attention to what she does in any circumstances. But now she's traversing and conjoining with Saturn in your 11th house of great gains from your career, hopes, dreams, and wishes, forward momentum and goals and ambitions. Your fairy godfather is there listening to you. That's Venus. She's probably a godmother. Unbroken, untamed, and unwed. Admete says also persevere, last, go the distance, don't give up. It's Herculean effort, sustaining wealth. Why wealth? Because it is a house of career gains or sometimes pennies from heaven. When I like this about this energy, it probably isn't a lottery win because Saturn says endurance over time sustains wealth. Venus says, I'm here to bring it. One thing about Venus in this part of the sky is that she's a benefic planet in a benefic house, and she's exalted. So it looks like there's some glow up in your finances. It wants to happen. But did you have a financial glow up as gains from the workhouse and career were amplified back in 1994 to 1996? Can you compare that if you're old enough? That might help. Otherwise, I want you to see that this is so rare that, 1877, the mix included the North Node, first time in your life where you're going to extend and expand into worldly success in the career gains itself, the promotions, the raises, the celebrity, the exposure, the influence over groups of people, the actualization of your long-range dreams and goals and hopes. I also love the energy of the fact that this conjunction between Saturn and Venus has been warming up. You felt it March 21st of 2024. It came back on January 19th, then retrograde Venus April 7th, and direct again April 25th. So how in your life does it look if you try to connect those dots? Clearly, it's a money story for most of you. Otherwise, it's a friendship story. Venus here could be about particularly females, but long or enduring friendships that wish to grow, expand, destined new alliances. Maybe you've been meeting someone new that's destined January 19th, April 7th, April 25th. If you go back to March 21st, did you start a new relationship with somebody? Did friends with benefits pop out of the woodwork? I don't know. Friends are the 11th house. The sibling, one older than you, could be generating wealth towards you. That's another angle for this. And Saturn is kind of like pruned the tree of friendship as he entered this part of your chart in 2023. And a lot of you know that already. You let some friends go. You realize some friends weren't for you. Some friends moved away. Your social circles kind of leaned out, but it's to your benefit that they leaned out because now you know the kinds of friends you really want. These are my people. And you're left with the golden friends, the good friends, the right friends, as Saturn has been journeying here for almost 3 years. Saturn with the North Node could indicate there's destined new friends that are showing up in your life. Like you're just wondrous about the whole thing. Venus is the ruler of 2 houses, your body, your temperament, and how you feel about your life. She'll give you the gains of the 11th if you work hard for it, because your Taurus sky is 3 signs away from where she sits. The 3rd house from where she sits is about where you work for it. You work hard. You put effort into it. This is not a lottery. It just isn't. This is making that money in your career because you are diligent and perseverant and doing what is necessary. You can grind with Saturn, but you can be prosperous here as well. And this is true through till next spring, when Saturn in the month of March will indicate a new story with Venus and Aries. So keep that in mind. This is a story that unfolds until next spring. She also is the planet that rules. Rules. I love that word. Rules. I don't know why I like that word. Your sixth house of work and livelihood and health. And if she can do her best to help you out, she's going to bring you lucky and golden, expansive and destined opportunities regarding job, work, and career, and health, and pets in the next few months until next April. A destined soulmate pet that brings you great joy, okay, may come into your life. How? 11th house. A friend has a litter. They have puppies. Their dog got pregnant. Their cat got pregnant. Offers you one of their animals. A colleague coworker says, I got too many new baby kittens or rabbits. Do you want one? Look for it to happen. You'll see what I mean by next spring. It's going to be kind of fun. Jupiter witnesses everything happening in the house of great gains, his Pisces kingdom from the second house of earnings. You bet your bottom dollar. What he wants to do is bring it to the income, the savings, the money you have at hand, your financial resources. If I can say one simple thing for a lot of Tauruses, not a personal reading, general bell curve astrology. You're getting a financial glow up in the next few months until next March of next year. Thank you, Venus, Saturn, North Node. And it looks like it's coming through work and earnings and that part of your chart. Hey, Gemini, sun, moon, rising. If you want to listen for your progressed sun or your progressed ascendant, I'm not going to teach you how to do it here, and then do so. It's still secondary to the main story of your natal chart. It's like saying it's the foundation as a natal chart. And now you're building, I don't know, the wall is the foundation. The wall is the natal chart and the paint color is the progressed placements. Okay. So your progressed placements can be useful. I say that because I always say, I'm a progressed sun in Gemini. And then people ask me about this principle. So I am a progressed sun in Gemini. So bottom line is Jupiter is in your sign. I can't not say that to begin with. It's like the red elephant in the room or the elephant in the room. So you're lucky, you're protected. Okay. Keep that in mind. Yes, I know not all things look great because he retrograded for months and months, October to February, but you're still protected and you're in good stead and health challenges will do well. I got COVID again. A progressed sun says, thank you, Jupiter. Cause I'm only 1/3 as sick as I was the first 2 times I had it. So there you go. Now, Venus and Saturn and the North Node in your 10th house, last seen in 1877, with the 3 of them, is destined fated change in your career and reputation, expansion, growth, publicity, popularity, public appeal, enduring, lasting, long game results. But with just Saturn and Venus here, just like 1994, 1995, 1996. Also, as I said, in the 1960s for the older ones, 65 to 67, you had the Venus-Saturn conjunction here every year. So what were you doing then? If you want to compare matters to do with what looks like career success through hard work, through mastery, so rising to levels of authority, by rising to greater levels of power in your career, mastery, authority, Saturn, Venus, public appeal, popularity, success, goodness, North Node, destined change. Venus got here in March 21st of 2024 without the North Node, just on her own. She touched with Saturn. So there was a beginning of something for you, right? Like a teaser of what was to come. Because then we get to January 19th, April 7th, and April 25th, part 1, 2, and 3. You ended up with 3 touch points of Venus connecting with Saturn in the 10th house. And you might be able to connect the dots to things you were doing in your professional life during those touch points. This is a very amazing time for you, Gemini rising, especially sun and moon secondarily. I forgot to explain the beginning, sun, career, and purpose. Never mind. I need to put a note to file somewhere on these videos. But it kind of feels to me like your escalation of great career success is kind of come through and this is true through till next March, right? The last pass of Venus. This is applying till March of 2026. It's going to come through the 12th house, which Venus rules, and the 5th house. 5th house is creativity, entrepreneurial endeavors, education, your natural abilities and talents, artistic endeavors. And so play, fun, and joy. If you're not having fun, you're not going to succeed. If you don't find yourself inspired and enthusiastic, I always say the fifth house matters. Fifth house tells us why we get out of bed in the morning. Venus says, if you want me to pull off worldly success at a level you haven't seen lately, because you've been enduring, persevering, and working hard, you are unbroken, untamed, and unwed. That's at Admete at the top of the sky. You're going to have some fun, because if it ain't fun, we're not doing it. She could give you a lottery win as well, but then she'd be saying, because you won the lottery, do what you love and it will help you succeed. Now you don't have to take the grinding job. Well, she also rules your 12th house. Your 12th house is that money that you get from the distant shores, far off lands, foreign people, marketplaces, abroad, or in a distant place. So there's a sense that money that's made for modern day people, digital entrepreneur type revenue, that's going to have a nice little uplift as well. But you have to work hard for it, because this is 3 houses from where she sits, which means you work hard, but you get the gains of the 12th. And I didn't mention this before, but the 8th house, but your 5th house is 8 houses from where she sits. And this is indicating that you could also definitely receive some kind of chunks of money archetypally in lucky ways over the next few months until next March that help you lift to the top of your sky in some way. Other people's money, resources benefiting you. Now, shared resources as well. Now, what about Jupiter? Jupiter's in the 1st house, right? As I said, you're lucky as all hell, but he will say, hey, I'm in charge of your Gemini sun, your career, your Gemini moon, your feelings about things or your home, or I'm in charge of your Gemini ascendant, your health, your body, often, everything about how you want to steer your life. I'm in charge of that right now. And Venus, you're resetting up in my 10th house. Well, I'll bring a lot of career success to the forefront for the sun in Gemini, especially. But also for the moon, career success connected to good things in your home. Or for the rising sign, the way your career success is unrolling, it might be something you very, very strongly identify with. The I am factor. I am what? Abundant, prosperous, or I am healthy. So you can still have career success and be healthy. They're not mutually exclusive. I am a workaholic. I need to learn that lesson. Not only are you lucky in your career, but you feel I am lucky. And this is intertwined together in the next few months until next March as this last gasp until, 2053, getting that vibe in the top of your sky and not yet seen, ever since 1877 with the North Node of Fate. Moving on. I think I got you, right? Hey, Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising sign people. There's a Venus story happening in your 9th house. Venus up here is extraordinarily flowing towards you in a water trine. So all said and done, no matter what she does there, whether she stands in her head or she causes a chaotic moment or a scene, loses her shit, she still loves you up. She water trines you and you feel good about life, about her, about who you are, and your spiritual philosophy and a feeling of being on purpose and enjoying the feeling of being on purpose can be amplified, or she could love you up in other ways, but she's definitely in a nice space around who you are, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. While she's up here with the North Node and Saturn in a way she hasn't done it as a triple combo since 1877, you will notice a few things. You have destined worldly success that you're trying to accomplish in higher education, court and legal matters, book publishing and publications in general, dharma and meaning of life, spiritual philosophy, religious beliefs, and maybe for some of you, foreign shore travel, far off distant shores and travel. This energy is also connected to energetically Saturn and Venus together in the historical time frame of 1965 to 67 and 1994 to 96, where Saturn Venus came together in your ninth house. Therefore, what were you doing? Were you going to university, exceeding at college, winning at lawsuits and court judges, and traveling the world, getting publications and book publishing deals, following a spiritual path or a guru? This case, Saturn Venus would probably be a female guru or sage or master, but maybe some of you have done that. Unbroken, untamed, unwedded, persevering, Admete, the Greek princess who traveled with Hercules to get the magic girdle of Hippolyta, whatever that was. Well, girdle, it was probably a belt. It was probably an ancient technology. But anyway, you definitely have a sense of wanting to persevere, not give up, to endure, to succeed at something in that ninth house. It's not a bad one through till next year, till next spring, to go back to school to study. She's been testing these waters with Saturn March 21st of 2024, January 19th of 2025, April 7th, and April 25th. Now, it is literally a longer story, right? Especially she's been heating up the waters of Pisces since March of 24. So look at the themes I've outlined and say how you've been dealing with it since then. Because she rules two places in your chart, the fourth house of home, property, and real estate, as she exalts and expands the worldly success of your ninth, some of you may choose to move to another country, to a distant shore, somewhere far from where you currently live. And Jupiter supports that as well, as he is already in the house of distant shores as Lord of the ninth. So there is a quality of that may indicate some of you may want to change your home to a far off land. And certainly South Node traveling through the third of travel itself can indicate changing or traveling or moving your home. You never know. And also, you'll notice that she rules your 11th house of great career gains, friendship circles, long-range goals and dreams. I think you could probably say that she'd like you to experience some successful increase of your career satisfaction and the goals and ambitions and long-range dreams that you have. But you need to also lean into the ninth. You also have to remember that it's about ninth house matters. If you're off purpose, and Chiron, key to purpose in your 10th house, is trying to get you to align with a purposeful career that meets the standards of your soul, well, if you're off purpose, then she's not going to let you get anything out of that 11th house. So you want the gains of the 11th, your raise, your promotion, your monies from the 10th house of the career path to be of the flavor of meaningful work, or applying your educational pursuits to professional endeavors. Like, I'm getting this lesson or learning or teacher or teaching so I can apply it to making money in a career endeavor. The sibling, one older than you, can give you unexpected Saturnian blessings. Thank you, Venus, in a Lakshmi luck house for wealth. So wealth from your elder sibling can spit out of this story as well, just so you know. And that's true now through to the end of, till spring, till March of 2026. Finally, if you want a spiritual teacher or you want to travel internationally, with Jupiter's placement, witnessing the ninth house, those things are sanctioned between now and next March with great success, as well as learning and studying new pathways, especially for professional matters. Leo, sun, moon, rising sign. Yeah. Venus, exalting your 8th house, North Node, not seen since 1877, destined worldly success and ambition. And Saturn, grinding over time. But let's be practical. Saturn and Venus can be an elder female. And this is a house of inheritances. Some Leos may, grandma, great auntie Sue, be looking at some inheritances between now and next March. On a more spiritual note, there's occult mysteries and wisdom traditions and tarot and astrology and hermetic and the emerald tablet and the deep paranormal stuff in the 8th house. So you might be expanding your learning, your interest, your curiosity, in that part of the chart. Money you share with your spouse, tax monies, inheritance monies, insurance payouts all belong to the eighth. Something good is trying to happen, something wealthy. And remember the Sabian, a full moon and a garden, some kind of financial prosperity. You have Admete, she's perseverant, she lasts, she goes the distance, she's unbroken, unwedded, and untamed. That's what her name means in your eighth house. There's a lot of power in your eighth house of chunky money at this time. Now, I want you to go back. And I want you to remember Saturn Venus here back in 1994 to 1996 when Saturn and Venus co-joined together. Now, some of you could go, oh, that's when my grandma died or my great grandma died. And yeah, I got the ring or something. You know, some of you might have some inheritance stories that go back to 94, 95 and 1996 as Venus Saturn kept joining here without the node of fate. But you also may have experienced situations where you had to persevere, endure around money matters. Sometimes it felt constrictive. Sometimes it felt like you could barely get through. Maybe tax burdens, maybe challenges with investments or something like that. But some of you may have prospered 1994 to 96 and made money in the stock markets, for example. That's an example of what you may have been doing back then. You never know. So we're back again, 2024, 25, but with the North Node of fate saying it's very destined, it's very expansive, it's going to happen because it's got fate inside of it. With Venus ruling your 10th house of career, this is going to extend to financial gain coming off career path endeavors, with Uranus maybe shocking and surprising, sudden, exciting escalation of financial well-being through career matters, severance package, commission checks, sign-on bonus, performance bonuses. These are all good things that can happen because this energy plays out through till next March. It sort of stimulates this a vibe through till next March. Look for those themes to unfold. Now, also, if you've been having secret love affairs, and I don't want you to do that, but secret love affairs can be eighth house. Some kind of destined shift and change on those secret love affairs is afoot here. And I will say the 10th house is a house of the public eye. So maybe the hidden love becomes a public love in the next few months through till next spring. Venus is also the ruling planet or the owner of your Libra sky. That's your third house. Third house matters are definitely going to be impacted in the months ahead. There's a quality here of maybe what, I want you to go back. Don't forget. Did I tell you like March 21st of 24, January 19th of 25, April 7th, April 25th, especially January 19th, April 7th, April 25th. These are the three touch points where we have the North Node there. So see if you can connect some financial dots here and career dots. Did you get a bonus check? I sent my sister, she's a Leo sun, a bonus check for being my on my staff, so to speak, being a helper for me, and she would have got that check probably around January 19th. I swear, it literally would have been, or a literal story if you ask me. Now, one thing I would say is that with the third house activation, Venus's third house rulership there's definitely the possibility here of something to do with your social media sphere, writing projects, communications projects, also being involved in extremely better results in your long-range finances and shared resources. Like, for instance, maybe some of you put out social media stuff and maybe that's going to allow for ad revenue, or you have a book publishing deal. It's going to give you royalty income. But it matters to do with writing, communicating, marketing, selling, advertising, social media, and media in general are highlighted for financial gain for you between this, conjunction on the 25th through to March of next year. I hope you guys love that up. You got that Mars transit. You're pretty feisty. Well, that's in my video that came out Monday. So Mercury, Sun, Moon, and rising sign. Well. I talked about my daughter earlier. It's in their marriage house, guys. Marriage, marriage and long-term partnerships. It's also your public and marketplace from your 10th house. It's usually very active for people who have their own business. And this is also your house of business partnerships as well. Now, there was this Venus transit where she kept meeting Saturn, 1994, 95, 96. And maybe you remember going through a relationship, and it may have been very challenging because Saturn is testing that relationship. Will that marriage last? Will that committed love last? Did some of you get divorced or separated? Maybe you did. Saturn's tough in the seventh house. If you're, it could mean your partner's depressed, melancholic, or going through hard times. But it also means that your relationship can be going through tough times, or it wants to level up to more traditional standards like getting married, moving in together, concretizing, making it real. And with Venus, if you weren't in a relationship, like March 21st of 24, January 19th of 25, April 7th of 25, April 25th of 25. These are the touch points, not seen again for another 30 years, where you could have met somebody new. And if you were looking for somebody new, it would say lasting, enduring love, and maybe an age difference of 6 to 7 years above or below you. But if you're with someone, it's a long game to test the resilience of the relationship and see if it's going to level up or fall apart. So here we have the last and final story of Venus Saturn co-joining on April 25th. And between that and next March, you'll know the answer. Will it last? Will it come into a new form of stability, or will it no longer be a relationship? The North Node wants it to be destined. That's why new people you meet now will feel like soulmates. They could be coming into your love life. But North Node also wants the relationship to grow. It wants to expand the pot in which the root bound tree is in. This could be, for example, having children, getting legally wed, moving in together. These are narratives that this sky may be calling forth in your life. Venus is the ruler of your ninth house. Do some of you want to go to university or college? Are you looking for the possibility that you can expand your success with a marketplace or audience or business partnership environment if you only educated yourself on something you don't know? Some of you may experience this also as connections to things going on in foreign places and foreign lands that are exciting or exhilarating, you're honest, that are also impacting your relationship. Some of you could get a wedding proposal out of this, a marriage proposal, a ring, a bended knee moment as well. And that's true between now and next March. With Venus also being the ruler of your second house, you could see that this thing that's going on over there increases your earnings. So legal contracts belong to the seventh house. Ninth house is human resources. Jupiter witnesses from the 10th house of career. Some of you may get some financial increase because of a new position at work or a new job. And it's going to benefit you because you have to sign a contract and take the interview and get hired. And seventh house matters are fated, destined, and expansive. If you go back, though, to the 19th, April 7th, and April 25th, what was happening? Maybe you can connect some dots as Venus kept bumping into Saturn with a North Node co-present on January 19th, April 7th, and the 24th. March 21st last year, what were you doing as well? 2024. My daughter was graduating. She's from her university education. So ninth house matters were activated because Venus rules that ninth house. I love that Jupiter's still finishing up till June the 9th in your 10th house. So you're very lucky, very fortunate when it comes to job, career, ascendancy. The boss loves you. You get raises and promotions. You apply for jobs and you win the day and you actually get hired. And those things look great on you as well. If you want to do a legal marriage, plan a wedding, you or your partner, this could look good on you. There's no doubt about it with Jupiter at the top of the sky in the house of weddings. So keep that in mind as well. I will only add that there is the possibility because of Saturn, and you're under this possibility through the next March, that if this relationship cannot grow a larger pot for it to, the root bound relationship to expand into, then you may end up closing it down. So keep that in mind. It needs to grow, it needs to expand. Terms of service have to change. Lastly, sometimes the seventh house isn't about you. It's about your partner. Maybe they're going to have massive expansion and change connected to foreign lands and shores and connected to their earnings, houses 9 and 2. Let me know what happens because maybe their life is up leveling as well, or instead of you. All right. Now they're sawing above my head. This is going to be a lovely week. We're going to talk about your Libra folks who are ruled like Taurus by the sign, by Venus herself. Venus has not been since 1994 to 1996 in your sixth house of work, pets, debts, workplace, employee-employer relationships, rental properties as a landlord or a leasee, all of that stuff. So this is an energy that's really going on, right? And your health as well right now. If you go back to 1994, 1995, and 1996, then you might have noticed that you had some big action here about lasting, enduring results in money and love stories, office romances, maybe increasing your finances through enduring hard work with hopefully a little joy and pleasure involved. Maybe you got your dream pet back then. And I hope this doesn't continue all week. I hope this isn't so loud for you. I apologize. I can't fix a roof deck repair. Gonna drive me to drink though. I have autism. Some sounds I can listen to, and one of them I can't is that sound. That's a saw. Hammering doesn't bother me. That sound is bothering me. Although I can't take bright lights, I can't take dry skin touching fabric. I wonder if I can move myself somewhere else in this house since they seem to be right over me. Well, I'll just finish this video. Sorry, Libra. All right, so I am recording, thank God. Had a terrible thought that I unplugged. So your property, home, land, and real estate, that's a thing, right? That's important. No, sorry, your work and your debts, but if you want to rent a place. So there can be a change of home connected to rental property for some of you. Saturn rules your fourth house of home. I want you to go and think about, well, maybe you like where you live, but maybe you don't. And between this like beautiful Venus, intensity with the North Node of fate, a fated change of home connected to a rental property, or if you are a leasee landlord, you're renting your place out to the perfect person. And that's true between now and next March. If by selling a house you pay down a debt, then that's wonderful. Like, I guess you pay off the mortgage, right? Because your eighth house is what Venus rules. That's banking, mortgages. And I guess I'd say independent of a rental property, the sale of a property is also looking good on you between now and next year, between now and March. Now, I want you to go back as well to the more recent engagement of Venus. Don't forget, March 21st of 2024. Then January 19th, April 7th, April 25th of 2025, Saturn, Venus, Saturn, Venus, Saturn, Venus in your sixth house. So these are things to do with work and pets and debts and properties to rent and health. She will try to improve your health. Saturn will give you long game strategy. North Node means destined. Admete, the Greek princess with Hercules, unbroken, untamed, unwedded. Ooh, but also perseverant, enduring, and marathoning through that chart. You have such endurance here. Can be very much a marathon in terms of wanting to complete something as well that you've been working on or with ever since Saturn got here in 2023. So maybe you're getting ready to complete or end some kind of work that you've been very highly engaged in since March of 2023. And Venus is giving you the glow, the bounty, the prosperity, and the feeling of success in this part of the chart. Under this influence, of course, getting a pet is a possibility as well through till next March. Now, Venus is also not only the ruler of your chunky money, so taking possession from sale property, investment monies, money coming from chunks of unearned income over the next few months, but in a surprising or Uranus ways. But also she rules you. And so this is a house of sickness. Watch out for your feet in general, because this is what you have as one of your health challenges lifelong is the feet. My friend Renee was on the Camino with me as a Libra. I think she's a Libra sun. And oh my God, her feet on the Camino is full of blisters. So all of you have feet problems, Libras, got to watch out for your feet. Well, one of the things I'd say is that she's trying to help your body, help your health, and improve your health. I don't think I can go through this sound. I'm going to try to move us without unplugging everything. So give me a sec, and I'm going to try to find another spot to sit. Hello, Libra. I moved us to my office. I am so sorry about that sound that probably like was through half of your video. But anyway, now I'm in a quieter space. Not great lighting, but a quieter space. So let's get a whole of your chart and finish up. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Where did it go? There we go. Thought my internet cut out. That would just be typical of the stories that I go through with construction overhead. Remind me to buy a property, somebody, instead of having rentals. I used to be a landlord, though. All right. So, one thing I want to mention is Jupiter's witnessing or watching or observing from the ninth house. And if you're in the book publishing industry or pilgrimages or things to do with international travel or courts and legal matters, he could try to apply some of the goodness of the hard work and the karmic debts that you're servicing by being of service to the world and give you blessings there, winning at the court matters, getting the book publishing deal, getting some international success or exposure. So keep that in mind as well. That looks so lovely for you. I mean, I don't know how to say it. You could get a lucky job opportunity from a foreign country or foreign employer coming through the sky from April the 24th through until next March, April 24th, 25th. Hey, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. If it helps, you want you to go back in time to 1994, 95. This is the last time that you felt this energy of Venus and Saturn co-joining in your fifth house. Now, this is the energy of joy. She's in her joy here. It was what brings you creativity, artistic expression, fame, entrepreneurial chutzpah, the ability to use your natural talents and gifts to the fullest, the expression of the gains of the force. So maybe even great gains from selling a property, who knows? But whatever you're doing in the fifth house, especially if you're an artistic or creative type, Venus is supporting you when she comes through here and meets with Saturn, like she did 1994, 95, and 96. Some of you are far too young for that to be meaningful, but if you're not, it could be helpful. And as she's moving through this part of your chart, she's bringing a sense with Saturn of how you want to have lasting, enduring, resilient results in entrepreneurial, creative, and artistic expression. But your fifth house is also romantic love, and it's also sexual romantic love. So therefore, you could have, if you're single, the possibility of having met somebody new during this transit because she's been here now since 2024. Let me go get my cheat sheet in the other room. I'm back. So, I forgot the cheat sheet. Okay, let me just do my memory. So, if you're going to go back to March 21st of 2024 and then January 19th of 25, April 7th, and now April 25th, these are the three touch points of Venus connecting with Saturn. Without the North Node in March of 2024, but still Saturn, Venus, Saturn, Venus, Saturn, Venus. So this could have been things to do with romantic love. And if you're single, maybe you met somebody new and you knew right away it was karmic. It was going to be lasting. It had legs to stand on. It was a long game love story unfolding in an existing love story and romantic love story. It could have deepened the enduring love that you two have for each other and shared more traditional expressions of that love, such as marriage and weddings and things like that. Is a fertility story. This is where you have the energy of babies, conception, and Venus is that goddess of fertility, and therefore enduring and lasting or hard work results equals results in making babies happen. And so between now and next March, by applying resilience, Admete is there. She's definitely that unbroken, unwedded, untamed energy, but she's enduring hard, working hard, long game, endurance for creative, artistic, entrepreneurial projects, fertility and romance projects. And your children are here, and your children can benefit from these blessings of Saturn, Venus as well. North Node of Fate, expanding your children's success. Things are going well in their life, but they're working hard for it, perhaps. Venus is the Lord of your seventh house of committed love, marriage, and traditional marriage relationship, spouse. Therefore, maybe this is also pregnancy with spouse, or a new level of commitment with spouse, or a new level of pleasure and enjoyment with your spouse. Or one of your children tells you they're going to get married when? Between now and next year, March. Also, Venus is the ruler of Libra, and the Libra part of your sky, my dears, is your 12th house. Foreign land, digital, international revenue, journey, getting pregnant on a foreign trip travel opportunity, having romantic love with a foreigner or someone in a far off foreign shore. Oh, it's so much goodness in the sky. I like it. You could also find that your bed pleasures are activated, 12th house is bed pleasures, and there's just an uprising of sensual, playful, and fun relationship steadfastness. Like, guys, mating in captivity, right? I give you this Gloria Steinem quote. There's a resurgence of the joy of bed pleasures with somebody you love in a long-term committed love, a resurgence of romance. I certainly know a lot of people who try to get pregnant make a sort of like an exercise plan when it comes to their sex life. And there's that too, because Saturn is the structures and the discipline to have sex every third, week of your cycle or something like that, or to make a baby. If you're an artist or creative, go for it. You have a beautiful sky here with the worldly success of Rahu, the endurance of Saturn, the accolades. You could get famous with this, okay? You could get famous in some creative artistic expression with Uranus in the seventh house of the marketplace and the audience, especially. And Uranus is like sudden breakthroughs. You could have some great breakthroughs in your creative businesses and your artistic expression. And again, a little bit of celebrity and fame because you put the hard work in, won't look too shabby. I love the energy of Jupiter witnessing the whole story from the eighth house and money house. And, windfalls and pennies from heaven, not windfalls, like lottery wins and lucky money breaks. But in this case, speculative investments in the stock market, gaming, playing to win and, know your limit, a lucky day at the casino. I don't know. These kinds of things can happen when, anytime between this conjunction on the 25th all the way through until next March. This kind of combination, especially with Rahu, who brings worldly success, and he means, he can bring worldly success that connects to far off foreign places and people. And that 12th house story with Venus also amplifies that. You might become famous, but you might be famous in a far off shore or distant land from where you are born or where you live. Okay, let me know how it goes, Scorpios. I'd love to hear back. Hey, Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. You have this energy here of not seen since 1877, North Node, Saturn, Venus in your fourth house. They did touch down here before. Let's go through the basics, okay? Just Saturn and Venus co-joined in your fourth house in March of 2024. Then on January 19th, April 7th, and now the 25th of May, we'll see 24th, 25th, depends on your time zone. We see Venus and Saturn coming back together again, over and over again. Here they go. And now it's the final answer. She's done with like back and forth. She knows what she's trying to bring you, and she's going to bring you something good, but it's in the property, land, real estate, domestic, private life, home, the house of the mother, your childhood, your homeland, your family of origin. Venus is good news, exalting you, expansion, maybe foreign expansion, Saturn, long game structures and forms that go the distance. If you've been feeling burdened in the home or melancholic in the home, this is going to help improve that because Saturn's been here since 2023. And some Sagittarius maybe felt isolated or home alone a little bit much more than they wanted, or just an elder living with you in the home, or just hardship in the home, or constraint in the home. But Venus is going to increase your success here with the North Node that's doubling down on it. Admete, yes, unbroken, unwedded, untamed, but more than that, she's a persevering feminine archetype. not giving up with Hercules in the quest. So you're going to have a sense of having worked hard for the result you're seeing here. You had this energy without the North Node of Fate back in 1994, 95, 96. Did you make any major changes in your home life, for example? Did you change countries? Did you change homes? Did you build a home, design a home, decorate a home? Saturn Venus storylines. Back then, you're doing that again. You won't do this again for 30 more years. Now, sometimes legacy wealth can come from the fourth house. Money from an elder grandparent or female grandparent may emerge off of the story. I love this because especially when they're co-joining, the moon is still in Pisces. The moon rules your house of chunky money. So chunky money from females up your line, or like elderly females or elders up your line. And here comes some money. You never know. Now, one thing I would say is that Venus is the ruler of your work house, your sixth house of health and work, pets and debts, rentals and rental properties. For example, you might find an ideal rental property for yourself, a beautiful home and a beautiful street with a proud flag. All Canadians get the joke. Good joke. But you might find a beautiful place to rent as a tenant between this conjunction on April 24th, 25th, all the way through until next March. Or as a landlord, your perfect tenant. You may also get the perfect pet. You might also get the perfect opportunity here for romance and love close to home, or a romantic office relationship picking up close to home, or because of Rahu and Venus, love with a person from a far off shore, but you might meet them in the context of close to home. If you want to pay off a debt, this is definitely an opportunity to pay off or down a debt connected to property, land, real estate, inheritances, buying, selling, etc. It's good for your health. Venus is the ruler of your sixth house of sickness, and you could have unexpected, surprising, and positive turnarounds in health matters, but it's connected to some deep work you're doing, maybe investigating some of the karmatic factors of your life connected to your family of origin, your mother in particular, and your childhood, and you might be breaking free of those stories, and your health will improve. Also, you might notice that Venus is the ruler as well of your 11th house, which is the Libra sky. Now, your 11th house, I say 11th house, but 8th from where Venus sits. So your 11th house is very rewarding. It gives you rewards from the karmic rewards, but rewards as well from the 10th house. So what is it you are letting go of that rewards you? Because, self-know means you're letting go of career, reputation, matters, releasing and surrendering. But at the same time, hey, maybe you're going to get some collateral benefits from Venus in the fourth. Let me give you an example. Maybe a friend, a benefactor, an ally, or a sibling, one older than you, is going to dispense upon you some financial blessings connected to family of origin, mother, home, property, homeland, and real estate. Maybe one of your long-range goals and dreams comes true, but it connects you right back to things you're doing in your home, about your home. And some of you may just change your home off of this. There's no doubt about it, but it might surprise you with Uranus that you're going to suddenly buy a home, sell a home, change a home, rent a home. All of this is possible. But between this 24th, 25th, all the way through till next year, and go back, what were you doing when Venus was co-joining around January 19th and April 7th, and now April 24th, 25th with Saturn? What were you doing on each of those touch points regarding matters of home? And possibly you've been traveling. Rahu is in some traditions rules Aquarius, and maybe you've been traveling, because if you've been traveling, then you could also meet love in a travel opportunity type place for single guys and girls looking for love in all the right places. Jupiter rules this event in your fourth house, and he's in the seventh. Again, it could bring love to the table, romantic love becoming committed love off of the sky. This will unfold by next March. This also, Jupiter witnessing it from the seventh house, could bring legal contracts and deals and negotiations that allow for the purchase or sale of property successfully as well. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, first of all, you are Saturn ruled like the Aquarians, and you've got this story going on with Saturn bumping into Venus. in 2024-25 in the sign of Pisces. Now, not with the North Node since 1877, but nonetheless, if you go back to 1994, 1995, 1996, you had a Venus touchdown here once a year with Saturn. So it's not brand new. And you may go back to those years in your life and you may think, did I move my neighborhood? Did I travel a lot, especially to distant shores or foreign places? Did I was I learning something, skills-based education? Was I studying something? Some of you might have been going off to some kind of learning school environment to learn a trade or something like that. 94, 95, right? 96. You could also have found this Venus Saturn, some kind of constraint or hardship with extended family, a sibling in your life, aunt, uncle, cousin, niece, or nephew in your life, and hardship. Now, Saturn is difficult. Saturn is a reaper, grim. He's a hard taskmaster of Lord of time and karma. But Venus would have also been joining as well with Saturn, trying to find some kind of goodness in the sky in that part of your chart. Sometimes it could have meant finding a beautiful neighborhood, moving into a new home in a new neighborhood, finding yourself enjoying the media world. If you were a newspaper writer, reporter back then, now it's social media. Don't forget about, marketing and selling and communicating and finding yourself enduring and persevering, but succeeding 94, 95, 96. Now, one of the things about this is you got perseverance because of Admete, the princess here, connected to as well the labors of Hercules, but also unbroken, unwedded, and untamed, some fierce feminine energy in the third house now. Back in March of 2024, Venus and Saturn came together here. Of course, I think I mentioned this, but also again, kind of connect January 19th, April 7th, and now this story. What 3 points can you see are repeating here, Capricorns? Venus is the ruler of your romantic and sexual love house, where there are surprises or unexpected developments with Uranus. And yet it's also a wealth star that Uranus is sitting on in a house of money, luck, including winning lotteries and gaming and casinos. I wouldn't rule out a bit of a buy a lottery ticket ain't too bad for you this week ahead. But the long game says even between now and next March, this is a vibrational baked in narrative that between, April 24th, 25th and next March, you might find yourself in the possession of that winning lottery ticket. I do want to say that you could have some surprises with your children, and it could be also to do with children and travel, children and pregnancy and fertility, children and their educational stories. If you're creative or artistic or entrepreneurial, then by having put in the hard work, especially in the third house, writing, communicating, marketing, selling, the online realm, you may have a bursting out of great success and good fortune in that fifth house, which is exciting because Venus will try to bring it. With Venus, the ruler of your 10th house of reputation and career, that's also activated here. But your reputation and career collaterally will have impact from what you're doing in the third house. Are you writing? Are you social media beast? Are you marketing, selling? Are you setting up your website? What are you doing in the third house? Because it can blow you out between now and next March in that career and reputation narrative. Jupiter witnesses from the house of work. This could get you a job. The job might require travel, teaching, learning, marketing, or selling. That's a possibility. Looking for work, that this indicates a job coming your way in the next, year by next March. Certainly, the other thing I'd say is it feels as if with Venus and Saturn down here, if you were a single Capricorn, by virtue of travel or doing things with the local neighbors or going to the local everyday environment, there's a possibility of a destined fated love. Don't forget, North Node hasn't been here since 1877. Fated destined love stories through travel, or perhaps the online world. which is now the third house, social media realm, may emerge for you, single Capricorns looking for love between now and next March. And Jupiter witnesses from the house of work. That's why I mentioned job, but it's also called the house of dating because commitment arises in the seventh. So you might also, because it could open up dating opportunities for you in the next few months. You might meet somebody because you are willing to set up your dating app or get into the online dating game or just meet somebody, even locally for a drink. And you might get into a new relationship if that's something you're looking for, Capricorns. And then we're going to move into the next sign. And I did say go back to 94, 95, 96, right? And 65. But, so, 65, 66 is so long ago. I just don't know if I'm missing anything for you. If there's something you want to learn, pay attention. Skills-based learning and destined fated results with enduring prosperity as a result. There may be a chance for you between now and next March to enroll in some skills-based educational process that allows for some luck in job and career matters. That's what I got for you. Now they're above my head in the office. I see I move for nothing. All right, let's keep going. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. It is the sky. Yes, it is. We are dealing with it. Let's not talk about Mars, Pluto. Watch the video that came out Monday, a few days before this video, please, for your Mars, Pluto opposition narrative. Woo! It's the trolls, guys, coming out of the woodwork for me. So if you wanted to go back to 1994, 95, 96, you had a Saturn Venus conjunction each of those years in your second house. That's your work house in terms of earnings, money, savings, income, prosperity, wealth, getting the money you need to, thrive and survive. If I go back to that time in my life, I set up my first entrepreneurial business doing psychic readings, and that's exactly what happened. And I made money there, and I made my own money for the first time in my life that wasn't employed by someone. And Jupiter is witnessing this new beginning again. This time it happened March of 2024. Then it jumped without the North Node of Fate. The North Node of Fate increases your prosperity, your wealth, your finances in dramatic worldly success ways. That's going to be true all the way through to halfway through next year. And the last time the North Node, Venus, and Saturn were all together here was 1877. You ain't seen nothing yet. This is a way to be very, 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 very successful financially in a way you've never known before. So North Node and Venus and Saturn are all conspiring with enduring, lasting results. Hard work brings great prosperity. Admete, unbound, unwedded, untamed, but enduring on the quest for the magic girdle with Hippolyta. You can tell that by putting in the enduring, persevering work that's necessary and the attention to your finances, your success will be guaranteed. In March of 2024, I got in touch with an accountant and I managed to get my incorporation set up by April. That's exactly what happens when you get Venus, the goddess of money and prosperity, exalted, Saturn, structure and form for lasting results. There was no North Node there. I just managed to create a container, which I didn't have to give the government 60% of my money. So now what I have to say is that all of us Aquariuses are going to have a destined expansion of our prosperity and wealth in the next 18 months or so, or a year, and the next year. And this Venus story applies till next March. Destined fated expansion of wealth and growth of wealth in the next months till next March. And this is the Artha house, so it's through work and career matters. Venus is the ruler of the fourth house of land, property, home, and real estate, and what you do in and from your private life and home. Therefore, doing things in the from the home with Uranus on the internet, sure, but can bring prosperity and unexpected wealth. But come on, let's face it, the fourth house is where you live, and I got guys now stomping above my head and banging. So you're going to find that unexpected, surprising developments, but then can bring wealth and prosperity connected to your home are afoot. Your second house is possessions. You could possess a new home. This is also connected to the idea perhaps of legacy wealth. You could have unexpected wealth coming from the family of origin, fourth house. You could also possess a new car off of this and be surprised that you're doing that. But you could find yourself having unexpected possessions come your way connected to the fourth house matters. And that includes automobiles as well. Now, I would say as well that because Venus is the ruler of the fourth house, and there is that Uranus wealth star there, wealth coming through property or land or real estate is not without merit. So we'll see what happens. Maybe there's a gold mine under your house, or you just strike gold and somehow manage to win some money or get some kind of money that allows for a prosperous, lovely home. Also, I would like to pay attention to the fact that Venus is a ruler of your ninth house, and your ninth house is extremely important here because it's publishing, book publishing, foreign lands, travel, higher education, dharma, and court matters, all bringing forth financial prosperity for you between now and next March. Jupiter witnessing from the fifth house is the lottery win, the casino gambling, the bingo hall, yay you. But it's also, because he brings luck from fifth house good fortune, it also means he could bring you lucky endeavors financially through creative and artistic expression, through matters to do with entrepreneurship, fertility goddess and Jupiter there, your children. Yes, luck for your children. They're having collateral luck, but also pregnancy and fertility for your children. Between now and next March, your children could be pregnant. Hopefully they're adults. One of your children could be pregnant. Your ninth house is a house of grandparenting. That's your grandchildren. Yes, again, if you don't have kids with kids yet, this is going to be a possibility. Or kids, you have kids, but there's more on the way. So grandchildren come off of this for some Aquariuses. And sun, moon, and rising. Don't forget to try to trace the past here. What happened January 19th? What happened around April 7th? What's happening here around now, the 24th, 25th? Because that was Venus Saturn with the North Node touch points in your second house. You will find correlations here. You will find something familiar or similar to this. So for me, like in January 19th, by the time I got to like February 1st, I'd hit 100,000 subscribers on my channel. That would be an example of that success story in the house of money connected to, things I'm doing in my entrepreneurial fifth house. April 7th, I'm not sure I remember what happened, but I could go back and track it. It looks like a prosperity boost shortly after my birthday, April 4th. But things to think about, guys, things to think about. Don't get this back for another 30 years. Going to use it or lose it. And at last, Pisces, sun, moon, and rising. Well, hello. You are lucky to have this happening because were you alive in 1877? I don't think so. So Saturn and Venus will join here every 30 years. That's not unusual. It happened in 1965, 66, happened in 94, 95, 96, and it's back again now, 2004, 2005. So that's not new. But what is exciting is the North Node. The North Node says, I'm brand new, happened in 1877, destined, fated, expansion and growth and worldly success are yours to be had, connected to enduring and lasting and realistic approach, connected to exalted money, beauty, fame, and wealth. And it's all yours. If it's your Pisces sun, it's all yours for your career. If it's your Pisces moon, for your home. But if it's your Pisces rising, it's all yours for anything about you in this game of life. It's sitting with you at the steering wheel, the precious Venus herself, with long game Saturn and also mastery and authority and destined and worldly success. This energy, well comparable to 1994, 95, 96, it's so extraordinarily different because of the North Node of fate. It's like you're taking yourself seriously, loving yourself more deeply, and making long-lasting success gains in your life. Venus is the ruler of your third house. Those gains can come through social media, marketing, selling, websites, teaching, learning, traveling, some collateral benefits coming from siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, and nephews, especially the sibling one younger, but siblings just categorically bringing benefits, especially financial, because you have surprising algal wealth star Uranus there. Suddenly a sibling delivers a bunch of money to you. Who knows, right? Or cousin or aunt or an uncle. There may be an emerging radical and exciting change of neighborhood, because you might move with this energy as well between now and next March. Again, try to connect the dots, as I said, January 19th. Yes, sure. March of 2024. Yeah, March 21st. Sure. There was a touch point there in your sign of Saturn Venus, but it's this North Node energy that takes you back to January 19th, April 7th, and again, April 24, 25, 1, 2, 3, 3 stories, 1 story, 3 touch points. Look at that and say, where was I growing bigger? Where was I expanding my sense of self? Where was I feeling a particularly prosperous, beautiful, self-loving? Maybe did I get a glow up in my appearance? Am I feeling deserving of success in life? And perseverance, admete. You're going to work hard. It's the Herculean effort with Hercules. But you're unbroken, unwedded, and untamed, and you're fiercely you. There's something, whoa, the archetypes are so powerful here. Venus is a ruler of your 8th house of chunky money, the kind of money you get from Jupiter in the 4th house saying sell the house, the kind of money you get from Jupiter in the 4th house saying money from inheritances, the kind of money you get from Jupiter in the 4th house because you're doing something at home that is going to create prosperity in your life. Chunky money, 8th house stories. Well, that is money you don't earn. It's a tax rebate. It's royalty income. It's shareholder income. And there is a potential that you could have some worldly success in that area of reality, investing monies as well, between now and next March. Jupiter is witnessing all the excitement in Pisces from the 4th house. There's a lot to say about expanding the home. You might get a larger home, a bigger home. The home you have could get bigger. You add an addition, you add an outbuilding. There's a growth or expansion in the home. That's what it looks like. And ultimately, as well, given that Saturn exalts your chunky money and Venus owns it, I mean, that's such a good sky for you. I can only imagine that you're going to find some kind of money coming in sort of non-earned, discrete ways. Here's a chunk of money. Here you have it, a bursary, a sponsorship, an award, a commission check, a performance bonus, a tax rebate. Like, all looks really good. Property from a sale of money from the sale of a property, all of that. Well, one more thing I have to say. When your marriage ends and you have to divide the assets, that's going to be 8th house money. So if you're coming to an end of a longer term relationship between now and next March, and the South Node in the 7th house can indicate that, you may find, especially with Mars in the house of disputes and legal matters, lawsuits, you may find that you're going to win in the game of getting your share of shared spousal resources, including property, in the event of a ending in that relationship. Now, that's the best I can say on that regard. Well, thank you for listening. Don't forget, please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. Your astrologer worked through stomping over her head, bad lighting in my office, very fuzzy lighting. I apologize, but it's best I can do to get away from the sawing over my head. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Don't forget, check out all the things I do. I'm on Patreon. If you want to get 3 Zoom meetings with me a month, I'm going to even create a new tour, an inner circle coming up in the month of May. You can find me on Substack, Pluto Chronicles. I write all about Pluto and what he's doing in Aquarius. And I have audio podcasts and Unplugged Me, where I talk about the world as I really see it, not as YouTube lets me talk about it. And if you want to find me unplugged, that's on Substack. And also you can find that I am my Cosmic Moonshine newsletters, where I give away free readings. Want a free reading? You definitely want to join me there. When I was in Arizona, in Scottsdale, I went to this little really cute gallery. I'm going to tell you more about that because I don't have my information with me. The guy who runs it, he's an artist, and he does beautiful bronze statues, and Rose is the main a deputy curator there, and this is a crescent moon, and I'm Lunatic Astrology. What's that gallery called? OMG. Sorry, I don't have my stuff with me from the trip, but it was a lovely place to visit, and I'm loving my crescent moon necklace. Okay, just had to share. I will, next time I share, I'll give you more information. And these earrings are from Prescott, Arizona, in an indigenous First Nations type, or, you know, little like a museum. And I'll share more about exactly that as well, because now I can't remember the name of that, in Prescott, Arizona. Thank you guys. Ciao, ciao.